I didn't get lunch
Just
today.
eat during the stream. That's what I do.
Exactly, and we're back.
I get home
Perfect
and I gotta
timing.
eat food, man.
Welcome back to Hour 2. Star Wars Resurgence Week 1. Let's keep going, shall we?
I've had streams where all I do is eat.
Well, it's social
Is
eating
that a thing?
category.
Social eating.
Yeah.
Is that an actual thing? Like
Yeah.
you've actually just
Yeah.
sat there and ate? I mean,
There's a category on
I would-
Twitch called
I would
social
love
eating.
to just sit there and
My
eat.
views
Yeah, that
actually
sounds-
went up when I do it.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Wait, are you
Well,
eating
Is it with
coffee
that?
right
Is there
now?
that eating style? Just kind of like man, like
Yeah, like medieval king.
yeah, nice.
Put him in the brig.
Is it like? Can you put in requests for style of eating? Like, okay, I want you to eat that. I want you to eat that. That Pop Tart like it was filet mignon.
They give enough money.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to have people vote on what I'd eat.
Oh.
It was great.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so bringing it back. So just to do a quick little bits of information because there's so much information to go over. So we have Candor, who is going to be the captain of this ship. The ship that I don't think Candor has really put any 2 cents into what he's going to name the ship right now. But you know, there's time. There's time. Mathis?
I'll give you a name when I got one.
Okay, yeah. There's time. I didn't know. What was that, Maggie?
So he doesn't seem like the planning type.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I didn't know if Mike personally had something like.
No,
ready
I
to
did not
go.
think about naming the ship at all.
That is very unusual, but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
okay. There's time. There's no rush in this. You do have of the NPCs that are staying on the ship. You do have Isala Purvey, who is a human female. She's the pilot that was hired by Candor. You do have Dwight Khan, who is a Celestin male. He is the engineer or mechanic for the ship, who has his little trusty R1N0 R1 astromech droid that goes around and fixes things with him.
Also known as Rhino.
R1N0. And then he has his cargo master, the little Jawa, the cargo master. His name is
It's fucking Jawa, is what we call him.
yeah. I don't think you ever got his name, did you?
I don't speak his language.
Yeah.
And I don't have a
think you ever got his
universal
name.
translator, so.
Yeah. Look at that. Well, either way, he's your cargo master. You don't think things go missing. Wait, where did you put that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think things go missing. So that is the crew that has been thrown together.
And if people ask where the Jawa came from, I don't know. He
Don't
just
know.
showed up one day.
literally, they came on the ship, was in the middle of space. There was a Jawa organizing the cargo area. After a long whatever happens, there was still a Jawa organizing the cargo area, and that was that. So, does he get paid? Good question.
God,
We'll worry
no.
about that later. We'll worry about that later. As you guys are going to take off, you're in your ship, you're firing up the engines, you go to take off and you're leaving. 420 kind of getting his bearings on the layout of the ship, what it looks like, how it feels. He's kind of going around, makes his way over to the cockpit, and he sees that in the cockpit there are in fact 4 seats that are there. There's clearly a seat for the pilot. There's clearly a seat for the co-pilot. There's like maybe the person that does the astrogation, and then there's the person that takes care of like the weapons, the gunnery, right? So all that being said, he sees that there's some human female sitting in the pilot seat. And currently it is like kind of like lazily sitting there. Candor sitting in the co-pilot seat, not doing anything. Does 420 approach this situation?
Sure. Hello.
Candor? She kind of just like looks back and just like, chooses to ignore him and continues piloting.
I mean, he approached her. I'm ignoring him as well.
You say it to her?
I don't
So
say
as she ignores him and he continues standing there for a few extra moments, she turns back and she's like, yeah?
How you doing?
Well, I didn't get fired, so I guess okay.
Oh. I'm 420.
I'm Isala. She kind of like looks questioningly over at Candor,
Candor is just looking at a computer doing things. he's
ignoring the
yeah,
situation.
exactly. he's ignoring it.
Where can I get a gun?
Oh, yeah. Not that I'm really worried about you shooting anyone. She says, kind of like looking at you and chuckling. However, I really don't need blaster fire bouncing around the inside of this ship, so probably nowhere.
But where would there be one?
Captain?
You'll get one when you need one, 420.
I need one
Why?
to shoot it.
Shoot what?
Something.
You'll get one when you need one, 420.
It's like exercise.
You don't need exercise. You're a droid.
Oh, yeah.
He's
all
spoiled
I
by
got.
Nareem. Nareem like set him up like a little shooting range.
And then you see, Candor kind of like a flash of a quick smile as he looks at the pilot, and then goes back to working on the computer.
And she just goes back to continuing piloting the ship. Okay, so that being said, the crew gets up and starts flying and heading the way that they're heading. So now I believe that Candor had a plan for how it is that he wanted to go about this rescue mission. However, he sadly doesn't have all the supplies he needs to accomplish the task. And so he is making his way through hut space, to hut space and through hut space to go to exactly where it is he needs to go. And that's going to be the nearest system that he can gather the things that he needs. So we're actually going to find our way over, even if it's only very quickly and temporary, to Nar Haska, to gather the supplies that is needed for Candor to accomplish this task. What is it you think you need to do to pull off this task there, Mathis?
Well,
and do you get anybody involved to, like, say, Doc or 420, or do
Yeah,
you just kind of
maybe-
like go and take care
Well,
of it?
And ask him for the rest of the plan, and like
Yeah.
he gives me the list, and so I kind of start divvying out who needs to get what.
It is a trip to get there, but you guys were not far outside of hut space when you had picked up the last pieces of 420.
So as far as I know, looking at the plans, we can go about this basically two ways. I'm speaking out of game right now. We can attempt like persuasion, like talk our way in, or we can go in guns a-blazing. The attempt, I think what I would initially want to do is go in talking, because I feel like we'll be outnumbered. And if we have to shoot people, we have to shoot people. Like he's not beyond shooting somebody if he has to. Let's see. To leave the space, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know what we would need supplies wise. Like I don't understand what you were, because I'm pretty broke from character creation basically, so I don't have much money.
I have some money, but
I mean, if it's things for this first task, as long as you're not overboard, it's done by the magics of setting up plot.
Yeah.
It's plot money.
well, plot money. We would like every weapon and
Okay.
all the armors.
So suddenly you have all these broken weapons that are irreparable.
I
And
know,
your ship
right?
is weighed down and you crash.
It's like a monkey's paw. It's like a monkey's paw. You ask for too much, and it got you.
Look, it literally got Krendor. Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
He's gone. He
Got
left.
him.
Maggie's greed led to Krendor's demise.
So
sad.
So yeah, I mean, the plan here is just to try and go in diplomatically, aka lie a lot, land, and trying to get through to where Werbo is and
What
free
are
him.
we lying about?
About why we're there.
Why are we there?
Well, so here's the thing. So basically, what my plan is going to be lie to them and tell them I'm there to check up on them, and I forget specifically who I said I'm checking up for. I have to read
It was
Scott gave me like
it was Giaz. It was Giaz.
But isn't this not in Giaz's control anymore? Isn't that the problem?
No, well, Giaz is in control as far as everybody knows, except for those that are on the space station.
Okay, cool.
Yep, and the person that you were referring to is Dresser Velstrada, Major Dresser Velstrada
Okay, cool. So that's what I'm there.
of the
I'm basically
Imperial Navy.
I'm basically there to I'm gonna pretend I'm there to check up on them by order of the hut, Giaz, and then once I'm on, we're gonna try and worm our way to Werbo, and if shit goes down,
So you said you had ties with Giaz already.
yes,
and
I do. Correct.
You owe her something or something.
I owe her a favor,
So
but that has nothing to do with this aspect.
okay.
So, they basically
so we're gonna
I'm
need some kind of documentation that says we're there to check on them. Maybe I'll have like a checklist, like things that I'm checking on. So
Sure.
like,
We could try and forge some documents if you have that ability. I don't know how good
It's funny that her mind would immediately go to that, like, oh, let me get some documents and whatnot, a checklist and things to go down. And I can imagine Kandor's kind of like nodding his head, like, yes, huts use lots of heavily documented things to show exactly that they're supposed to be there. Perfect.
Hey, remember last time we were on a ship? We were on there,
Yes.
freaking
Yes.
out about
Yes.
the fact that we weren't the same people that were on the ship.
I'm assuming they're criminal masterminds. They have to be organized.
Of course.
To some extent.
No. I wasn't saying it to insult Maggie's plans. I was saying it like Kandor would be like, yes, that is what we need. Yes. It's a good thing that I thought of that.
Forgery is what?
Your
Skullduggery?
Yes.
All right. What's your skullduggery?
I think that might be more your stuff. My skullduggery is, I just have 2 greens. So
All right, I have a yellow and 3 green, so I can
knew
try
that
and
I knew that you were gonna go that route, so I tried not to.
yeah, I could try and come up with some documents to the best of my ability, and that'll be what we try and do, I guess.
What was your skullduggery there, Mathis?
1 yellow, 3 green.
Okay, you were definitely and she only has 1 yellow, so you're good.
All right.
Goo.
All right, I'm gonna roll for this. Let me pop open the window. Oop, wrong window. There we go. Skullduggery. All right, I succeed.
Perfect. So you make your skullduggery check. Now you don't just succeed; you succeed, and you're able to forge together documents for everybody, and they look pretty tight.
All right, cool.
So not only is it you that's going on board, you're able to have you go on board with 3 others.
So it'll be Doc 420, and fucking the female girl is fine with me.
Well, you do know that the female girl is a wonderful thing. However, there is a like something that's missing in the crew that you bring on board with you. Which of you can hack or slice?
Yeah, none of us.
None of us.
Yeah. So it's actually R1 and 0 that would be the
Okay,
the
that's
ideal
fine.
candidate for that.
I'm also going to bring. What I want to do is I want to bring 420's rifle, but in like a carrying case that's easily pop openable, and I can like toss it to him if needed. So but I don't want him to have it because his history, from what Kandor knows, is trigger happy. So I want to keep that safe, and either I carry it or Doc carries it. I don't think Rhino can carry it because he's too small.
You have 2 options for easily pop openable to give to him. One, an actual rifle case.
Yeah.
So, and 420 is not an idiot.
Yep.
So he might be able to figure out what that was. Or like a smuggler's kind of case, which it's easy pop openable, but then you have to pop open the part inside of that too. So it would take a little bit more time.
Yeah. I mean, they're huts. They're not going to let me... I mean, they're going to assume I'm going to be walking in with weaponry one way or another. We're going into a violent area, especially with slaves. So I will just take it in a rifle case, but I will carry it.
Okay. So you grab the thing and you bring it with you, and your plan is to go on and pretend like you're there to specifically give the entire place an inspection.
Correct.
Awesome. So actually, with that being said, there's very little stuff that you need to even do. You would swing by that planet one more time to kind of pick up the appropriate type of papers and whatnot that you would need, and maybe kind of like look at other documents really quickly, like, okay, yeah, that's what it looks like. And then just make sure the forgeries are good, or have somebody assist you with the forgeries, whatever the case may be, so that you can be very convincing that you are in fact supposed to be there. Maybe pick up a couple words of the lingo, just like killing a day or 2 while you're over on that planet. And then maybe even grab a case for carrying this item for 420. Hop back on your ship and start making your way over to Sakaar.
And if we can, maybe get Rhino to kind of look up what the last checklist was.
Or when the last inspection was.
Yeah, when the last inspection was, and that kind of stuff, and like what was on that list to inspect.
Absolutely.
Bringing like an engineer, a medic person. So we're kind of like checking off all the things, making sure that like you're.
And 420 we could pass off as our bodyguard.
Yep, not a problem. Okay, so just making that check for you to kind of try to find out where that information is that you are asking for, Maggie. Here's NPC's friendly,
Okay.
R1N0, and his skill check against that. And where's my computers? Bam. Does anybody else have a computer skill that wants to assist R1N0, or meh, he can take care of his own job?
I'll assist.
Okay, Maggie, what is your computers?
I have 4 greens.
There's flat 4 greens.
Yeah.
So he actually has a flat 2 yellows. So why don't you give yourself a double upgrade, or I'll do it right now, actually. And you can make the roll instead of me.
Oh, okay. Let me know when I can do that.
Oh, let me get rid of this upgrade. And
Oh, yeah.
now you can.
Nailed it.
Oh, I gave you
Oh.
1 too many upgrades. Sorry. Sorry.
Now I'm going to fail. All those good.
Sorry. There you go. Now you can do it.
Ruined my RNG.
I know.
Hey,
Hey, you still succeeded.
Okay.
You still succeeded. Okay. Scared you for a second. Okay. So you work with R1N0 and are able to find out when the last check was, and it was actually a considerable amount of time ago. So with the success that you have there, you guys are kind of like scouring through and looking at things. You can see that the checkups have been less and less frequent. Why it is, you don't know, but it has been a considerable amount of time since the last time there was a checkup. But one of the things that really stands out is that the reports back have been significantly less frequent. And if your character didn't know any better, you'd be like, oh, wow, this is odd, but you actually are already fully aware of why that is. And that's because the person that was in charge beforehand is probably not in charge anymore. Okay, so you guys hop back on your ship and are able to make your way over to Sakaar, or at least to the old derelict space station that is orbiting around the planet of Sakaar. Now, the last thing I'm going to say that you pick up along the way there, because Kander is somebody who knows that every plan goes wrong. He specifically goes and picks up a couple of like winter outfits, some cold outfits, because he already has one for himself because he had one not too long ago when he was back over at Katamai. But he does pick up a couple more for the dock and anybody else that might get stuck on the planet down below hand, because Sakaar is an ice planet.
Okay.
It is an icy planet. You guys make your way back on your ship and do your hyper jump over to Sakaar. As you guys pull into this region, you see that there is the old derelict space station off in the distance, jumping out of hyperspace. You see it off in the distance ahead of you. When I say old and derelict, I mean the thing is still mostly intact, but it does have 2 large chunks that are currently not attached to this thing right now. However, whereas before they may have been orbiting on like the other side of the planet, or the case may be, they're actually really close by to this station and kind of tethered onto it with like a strong firm tether, not allowing it to like whip around or anything ridiculous or crazy. Almost like, okay, they've pulled it over close, now they're getting ready to start doing a connection. And you can see that that is in fact the case, because if you guys get very, very close, you can see that there are people in fact in spacesuits that are outside of the ship and doing work and starting to prepare like the areas where the 2 sides will attach to bring the space station back together. Looking around, you do see that there are a number of ships that are docked outside of the space station, just kind of like attached to it, being held by like a gravity well, or whatever the case may be, to hold it in the place. And there are a few, in fact, docking areas where you can go through the what's called like the stability field or whatever it is, to go in, and the integrity field I think it's called, and land the ship so you're actually inside the thing's atmosphere itself. That's most likely where you're going to go. You're just going to hop on the comms really quickly. One of the things that does stand out, you looking around, knowing what you believe you know, and you don't see any Imperial ships anywhere. And so I imagine you quickly give us the order for your pilot to do a scan to see if they can find any Imperial ships or any of like larger class ships or something like that out there. Any of those kind of like signatures that might stand out. And so she does in fact do that. She gets working on it as the thing's drawing near and near. Then she kind of pops her head up and looks back and is like, nope, there's nothing here. As the scene is playing out, where is the rest of the crew at the moment?
Well, I'll let Fortune. Well, he's eating, so I'll say where I am. I was gonna let you go first. So Doc is basically, I guess, kind of. The ship is smaller, right?
Yeah, I mean it's still rather large.
Is there like a medical area?
I mean, there's not a very specific medical area set up at the moment. However, I imagine you're quickly gonna choose a spot and turn it into that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of set up a location, and as I'm noticing that we have a couple droids too, so I'm like, okay, well, we have to make sure that we have a place for repairing them, and so I'm just kind of like prepping that stuff, and getting all the things that I would need for the list and trying to make sure I'm up to stuff on all the terminology that I'm gonna have to mention.
Sure.
And kind of trying to put together somewhat of a semblance of a plan to figure out maybe how many slaves they have and how, like, what quadrants they're in and how I can get them out safely. Maybe if there's other ships that we could like get them on, because I'm assuming there's enough where they're not going to fit on ours.
I'm going to cut you off for a second there, Maggie. One of the cool things about the Drak Industrial Class 720 freighter is that it doesn't have, in fact, have 2 escape pods built into it. And each of those escape pods can comfortably fit 10 people. So you can hold 20 people alone just in the escape pods, plus a pilot. So 21 in each. There's, what's that? 42 right there, as well as the fact that the ship can hold a decent number of other people beyond that. I mean, I think it holds 15 people comfortably, including the crew and 10 other passengers.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and that doesn't even include cargo areas.
Yeah,
but cargo doesn't breathe usually.
Trying to figure out how many people are enslaved there, because I'm gonna let you guys know, her goal is to save everybody if she can.
Of course.
See what we can do.
No slaves left behind.
Of course.
It's like the opposite of my goal.
So,
you wanna leave Werbo and his family to be left there? They're probably all Werbo's family. No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, exactly. No.
He already hasn't seen his family in forever.
They're all slaves.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah, good point.
That's on my gun.
420, where are you during this
Get a
scene of
slave
docking?
free. I will do it.
What was that, Maggie?
What?
I was saying if I have to shoot somebody to get a slave free, I'll do it.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, Krendor, where were you during the scene that you're kind of approaching and everything's being seen?
Just kind of walking around.
Just literally meandering around like the cargo area and whatnot, maybe watching that shifty little guy like moving.
I'm gonna notice that he's kind of wandering around, and I figure that he probably just needs something to do. He's probably bored, so I'm gonna give him like a little task to basically help me like organize the area and put things in places and stuff like that.
Okay. Do you listen to her giving you commands to do this?
I don't know what she say.
All right, and say, hey, she's sitting there and she's like drawing down notes, and she has like this, she's like a blueprint that's sitting in front of her on a table, and she sees you like pacing in the hallway, and I get up and I'm like, 420?
Roger. What?
And I kind of like, I'm gonna open up your like chest cavity area and like do something really quick and then close it again, and I'm like, oh, that's probably better. Hey, would you mind helping me out?
What?
You're just like, what?
What?
I could use some help with that area over there. If you could just clear all those boxes and put them off to the side, that would be great.
How many boxes are there?
I'll let you count them while you move them. And you
Okay.
can tell me at the end how many boxes you've moved, and I'll write that down.
Okay.
So,
I just walk over.
I'm
and
using him to
move
log the
boxes.
things.
420 goes about this task of moving these boxes one at a time. And after a little bit of time, one of the things that he notices is that even though he's like over there moving the boxes, he notices that after a while, like the number of boxes isn't getting any smaller. And everywhere he goes to like put them down, the same number of boxes, it's like 4 or 5, is always still there. And he's kind of like thinks it's peculiar. And so as he's stopping to kind of like, what the hell is going on? It's kind of like stopping to like look at this or analyze it. He looks around and he notices a little Jawa picking up one of the boxes off the floor and going over it and shuffling back and putting it back on the shelf.
Hey, you're moving my boxes.
Completely ignores you and goes over and grabs another one and goes, puts it back up on the shelf.
I'm like, hey, you're moving my boxes. And then I pick up a box and I throw it at him.
Oh, jeez. You throw the box at the thing and it's kind of like, oh, TD! And it kind of like scampers and runs out of the room.
I guess I'm gonna hear that, obviously. Whoa, what's going on over here?
There's a shattered box on the floor, a whole bunch of like semi-fragile things are like cracked or whatever on the floor over where
There's like
420
vials
just
and
thrown the
stuff.
box.
I go over and I grab a broom and I'm like, now you're gonna have to clean this up. How'd you even drop that?
I didn't drop it. I threw it at him.
Threw it at who?
The little guy.
What? What little guy?
He was moving my boxes.
I open up your chest cavity again, and I'm like, there's got to be something wrong. And I'm like, I kind of move a couple wires around, and I'm like looking. Can I see if there's anything wrong with him?
Sure, you can make me a mechanics check.
Okay.
If you're looking at physical things as opposed to running a diagnostics. Oh, I had way too high of a difficulty for you, Maggie. I'm so sorry.
Well,
That's okay. No, you're good. You succeeded anyways. All right. So you're looking over. Just don't take that strain. So you're looking through throughout it and whatnot, and you're checking, and you see like, okay, nope. It seems like everything is everything's functioning. I mean, it's a mess inside there. I mean, Dwight usually does that.
Get some cable management in here whenever you're done moving these boxes, but it looks fine. And I'm like, kind of like wave my hands in front of your optical vision area, and I'm like, how many fingers am I holding up?
Two.
All right, well, clean this up and then move the boxes. How many did you move so far?
I moved 4, and then I moved 4, and then I moved 4, and then I moved 4. And then I saw the small man, and then I threw the box at him.
So it's funny because Maggie, when you look at the floor, you literally see 2 boxes sitting where they were being moved to, and 1 broken on the floor.
I only see. Don't worry about the counting. Just clean this up, and let me know when you're done. And I go back to sitting at the desk and kind of mapping out the plan and trying to figure out like how many casualties we're gonna have, and all the possibilities that could happen, because she's super analytical about it.
Okay. Sadly, it looks like 420 needs a different task. He needs a different job. So you guys are making your way, piloting the ship in. What is it, Candor? Do you have the pilot, or do you yourself call in the landing code?
I myself call in the landing code. I am not a good. I mean, I can pilot, but there's a reason she's being paid to pilot for me.
Yep. So you call in the landing code, let her do the piloting, and as this goes on, it's one of those things where if you didn't know what was going on, if you weren't aware of what was going on, you might be a little suspicious about like the rigidness and the strangeness of the way that the person on the other side was responding. I mean, it doesn't have the typical like, I don't know, smooth, but yet not so smooth, but somehow operational way that a hut operation would, or a hut employee would be handling, like the calling back and forth and everything, making sure things are going. It's like very stoic, it's very like, corporate. Yeah, very corporate, very clean. What is it, like landing number? Affirmative. You may land in dock number. And you're like, oh, okay. And you make your way over there, and it's one of those, oh, these guys. And so you do in fact bring the ship over, and you do land in the dock. So this docking area that you're in right now, it only has a couple of other smaller ships inside of it. And so when you kind of like stand in the cockpit area and like looking out, just kind of looking out the glass and trying to see what it is that's inside this, again, large area that you're landing in, you look out and you see that the other ships that are there are all kind of like beat up and old and rusted down ships. They don't even really look like they're capable of flying. But one of the things that you do see across the way over there is there seems to be like a bit of a new construction that's happening. I'm going like this, but it's actual new construction that's happening over in the like back part of the docking area. And the wall that they're building up, because they're in the middle of building it, is just high enough up that you can't see what's on the other side of the wall, blocking off more than a fourth of the whole area itself. But the whole top half of it is completely visible. So as you kind of like gather up the stuff that you need, call everybody to you, you're able to make your way to the area of the ship that's just kind of like the stairs that drop down. It's the airlock for you to drop down and be inside the docking place. Does everybody all leave? Does you, 420, R1N0, and Doc?
Yep.
That's the plan.
Okay. So as you make your way down, you see that what comes up to meet you are 3 all humans. You can tell that they're humans by the stature, the way they're moving, so on and so forth. The way that they walk, it's funny because they're all walking at you a little funny. So it's like they have swagger. No. It's like they're trying to have swagger. No. It's like they once watched somebody else try to have swagger and they thought that they were doing a good job of doing that and failing miserably. Like your friends that has no swagger, that's like trying to do that. Yeah, it's just painful. And you're like, no, stop. Even listening to you try to describe it is painful. So just stop. And you're seeing them make their way over with this kind of like smuggler's swagger as they walk up to them. They're
failing at looking nonchalant.
Absolutely nonchalant and just kind of like they don't give a shit, you know. So a little step beyond that. And so as they're making the way over to you, one of them is kind of like, hey, what are you doing here?
As I make my way down the ramp and like my duster kind of billows as I walk with a purpose and a little bit of speed, I don't actually look at them. I'm examining the area as my left hand reaches into my duster and pulls out like a data pad. And I just kind of hand it to them as I'm looking around and like, here for a checkup by Giaz, the hut. And I just hand it to them as I look like I'm examining via business and trying to be all serious.
And I'm like, I have like a pad of paper, or like not a pad of, but like a data pad open, and I'm like taking notes.
Mm-hmm. So again, it's one of those things where if you didn't already know, the fact that they all kind of like looked at each other as you said that, and then one of them like kind of reaches out and grabs the thing and starts reading through it, could have been kind of telling. However, they are all like, oh yeah, everything seems to be in order here.
I'll determine that for myself.
Well, before you can just go anywhere, we have to call this in to make sure that it's all everything's on the up and up.
Like as he's saying that, our rhino like sparks and whirs, and I give him like a quick kick, just to like keep him working.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't think it'd be necessary. We'll be here. We won't be here for very long. We've got
No, please. We really need to call this into. We got to call it into Ulud. We got to. It says another one. We got to call it into Ulud.
Who the fuck's Ulud?
No problem. You know that Ulud was actually the Vaudrin that was put in charge of looking over this place by Giaz. However, you would be very, very doubtful if Ulud was still in charge or alive.
Yeah.
So, like as I said, Ulud is a Vaudrin. That's the race of the person.
I don't know what those are, but I believe you. I don't know what Vaudrin are.
Yeah.
You're reaching into lore that I don't know.
No problem. It's that is some Huttese lore. They're lizard people. So he's like, yeah, Ulud. We have to call it into Ulud.
When he says the name, I actually furrow my brow. I'm like, I know Ulud personally. I can actually give him a call on my ship right now. I have direct link to his comms. Just give me a minute. And I turn around and I look like I'm walking back with purpose to give him a ring.
So the third one, the one that hasn't spoken yet, says, you know, you're wasting this man's time. We don't need to make Ulud any angrier than he already is. Now, actually, you guys, that's 420, Doc and Candor. All of you guys roll me a xenology check real quick.
Sure.
Xenology.
Not good. Yeah, nope, failure on my part, failure on Doc's part.
Be funny if 420 got it.
Where's xenology?
Very bottom of your skills list, sir.
I see it.
No. We all fail.
Yeah, you all fail, and some of you guys are like hurt brains from trying. So, nope, you guys aren't able to. So he's like, oh, we don't want to make him any angrier than he would already be. And so that, you know, look, please, this way. Let's stop wasting your time.
I look up from the data pad because I'm like pretending that I'm doing stuff. Well, I'm doing stuff, but I look up and I'm like, angrier than he already is?
Yes. Yeah, we don't want that to happen.
Candor, like very smoothly, like as he's walking up, turns around, walks back down, is like, he's a grumpy gentleman.
And so they're kind of like, yeah, we don't need to piss him off. And
She
so
just, like,
they
puts her glasses up and goes back to the data pad and follows.
So they start making their way. You guys start making your way around, and they're showing you throughout the place, and they're showing you all the things that they're like repairing, and they're like, oh yes, and this over here, the project, and this is the area where we're going to be able to have lots of different cargo brought in, and stuff over in this area. And this guy's kind of like drolling on in a way that, if you were a real inspector, you would find it annoying because he just doesn't really seem to know what he's talking about, but then you actually don't give a shit what he's talking about. So how is it that you kind of play out with him kind of like giving you a tour of the place, a direct tour of the place?
I feign interest. But my purpose right now is to figure out who Werbo is under, like what, but do I know where on the ship that would be?
You would not know where on the ship it is. And so as you're kind of coming up with a plan of how you're going to approach that,
And
we're going to...
Meanwhile, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Maggie.
I was going to say, Doc, on the other hand, has done a lot of research as to what's going on. So she's like questioning everything that the guy's talking about and like jotting down notes. And she's like, oh, really? And then she's like doing follow-up questions and things like that. While clearly our captain is trying to think of what our next plan is.
Whatever the next plan will be. And
here for the ride, I guess.
And 420 is looking for a stray rifle.
Yeah.
So we're going to pan the camera back over to Werbo. Werbo, who had actually spent 4 days separated from the rest of the employees in a separate holding area. However, he wasn't just kind of put in solitary confinement for his insubordination. He's not just getting a write-up or a pink slip. He's actually being chained to a wall, and every once in a while, that cat-like creature comes walking in with a whip and just starts whipping at him, and it does like a whole bunch of lashes at Werbo, and we'll do this for an extended period of time. I'm sorry, Jesse, your face is making me think that you're enjoying this more than I would like for you to. I might have nightmares tonight. So we'll whip out Werbo for a while, and we'll talk about how Werbo is useless and how he needs to learn his place if he's even going to have a chance to live. If he hopes to continue breathing, he needs to submit. And he'll go about it like this and just continue whipping at Werbo and talking about how his race are just full of a bunch of idiots that can't do much more than splitting rocks anyways, and this isn't the type of job for them. And this is literally what he's going at as he's just whipping at Werbo for, again, usually an hour, a little bit over at a time before he leaves and comes back a few hours later. And he does that for 4 days. I imagine Werbo is not a very happy man, but 4 days later, he gets kind of like dragged, very injured and whatnot, back to his chamber that he was in beforehand, where he gets slumped down and dropped onto the floor, the cold floor of the chamber that he's in. This is his normal chamber in the normal employee living area of the facility. And as he gets slumped onto the floor, he kind of is like thinking about whatever's happening. So what's going through Werbo's head at the moment?
Werbo is only thinking about sweet revenge on that cat person because you don't whip a Wookiee. Fact. You don't whip a Wookiee. So the minute I get out, I'm going after him immediately.
Awesome. One of the nifty things that Werbo does notice as he's kind of like pulling his senses back to himself, he's really fiending for some spice. It has been such a while since he was able to, and he actually has had some since he got into this place because other people were able to like bring some in, and he was able to get his hands on it probably through Chesty Punchy and winning the game and so taking his spoils. But he has been a long while, and so he's having some serious withdrawals at the moment. But he is able to notice that a couple of the guards that are walking by are having a conversation with one another. And so one of them says, kind of coming into earshot, yeah, random inspection. Really? From Gioz the Hutt? Yeah, no, they're here to inspect for him, and oh man, they're just kind of like everywhere. They're all up in all the places. Oh, wow, that doesn't sound pleasant at all. Yeah, I know. I said it that way to be funny. No, this isn't funny. This could be bad. What? If they step out of line, we just blast them like we did everybody else, right? What if this is somebody that has a direct tie to the? I mean, what if the Hutts realize what's going on here? You think that, you know, the Major didn't think about something like that? You think he doesn't have a plan in place for this? I think you have way too much faith in the Major. And then kind of like pan out of listening as that happens. So with that all happening, we're going to bring the camera back over to the rest of them, where you guys are continuing to meander around. So Mathis, what daring plan did you come up with during that time?
Daring isn't specific. It's a bit of a yeah. So I'm looking for his name is, they're in the custody of Major Dresser Valstrata.
Yes.
Gotcha. So as he's rambling and droning on, and I'm feigning interest, and thank God Maggie's there to look like she's actually doing work, because Candor does not seem like he gives too much of a shit. He will eventually cut them off and be like, this is all well and good, but we have so many things to tend to. We need to check up on the health of the slaves. That's why I have my doctor here. We got to make sure you're taking care of them and making sure that they're able to work fully.
Slaves, not slaves, says the guy that was kind of like giving you the tour. And the
Candor,
like, servants.
Candor like furrows his brow, gives a smirk. You realize who I work for, right?
Yes, servants.
Yes.
Is servants.
Voluntary servants. Right. Rather, beside the point, we need to check up on their health.
Yeah, it looks like you have, and I guess I've come up with approximately the amount of people they have.
Why don't you do me a favor, Maggie? Kind of making a guesstimation. So where is, looking down the skill list, why don't you make me maybe education, would it make sense? You're going to have to do an outer rim on this one, because you're talking about the number of slaves to do this kind of work. Because it's not typical numbers you'd be working with here.
You succeeded.
Yeah, wow. You have a really high base value for that. Holy crap.
I spend like all my stuff on that. So.
Yep. So you're doing this calculation because there was obviously something you had said beforehand that you'd be interested in. Assuming that they're all being maintained well enough, there's probably somewhere around 80 or so that are at least going to be in this area of the space station.
It looks like you should have approximately 80.
I don't know. Another one kind of nudges him. He's like, yeah, that sounds about right. 80 sounds about right. Though, you know, shipments do come and go, and some of them are sent down by the planet, so it could vary from there. But 80 is usually around where it is that we try to keep it. You know, and once again, the bluff is just not very convincing. And so kind of like there's a few moments of silence after he says that, and you guys are kind of just looking at each other.
After like awkward silence, I kind of gesture very thematically and like, lead the way.
To the prisoners?
Did I not say their health has to be checked up on?
You know
Did
what?
you not just call
Why
them
don't we
servants and now
go? It's kind of like speeding up a little bit after Doc starts saying that. Why don't I just kind of go ahead and make sure that they're all back to their rooms to be inspected properly. So you just wait right here a moment, and I'll make sure that they're all back in their rooms. Does that sound?
Doc gives a quizzical look at the captain and is looking at him like,
Yeah, you wait right here. You wait right here. And he kind of like turns and quickly makes his way down the hallway.
As he like turns and like runs off, Candor actually like will kind of swagger forward and put his arm around him like before he goes anywhere in a comfortable way. And I like look to him like this understanding look. I'm like, listen, I understand these, as you said, servants, and then I believe you used the word specifically prisoners moments ago. I'm not expecting A-list health. All right, you don't have to worry. Sure, some might be beaten, broken down, misbehaving. They have to be punished for misdoings. I just want to make sure that they're alive and breathing.
But they're not all in there. Like, a lot of them are doing work right now, and I just need to make sure that this is nice and snippy for you. We want to get them all in one spot, so they're not kind of like all around doing work in different areas. So you just go and inspect. He'll lead you somewhere to inspect very quickly, and we will go and make sure that they're all in one spot for you. All in, yeah.
Candor, perhaps
It's protocol, right?
perhaps we can see how they do their work.
I look back to you, and I would that's a great idea. Kind of look back. He's like, we do have to make sure that you are following proper procedures. Maybe watching you take the prisoners back and making sure that they are being treated fairly is a good idea. Right idea, Doc.
It sounds great. Okay, yeah, just follow us this way. The inspection is coming over to working area C. The inspection's coming over to working area C, so everybody be prepared for
I'm looking up
the inspection
C.
to happen in working area C.
I'm looking up Area C on the blueprints. Is that near where Werbo's supposed to be located?
You just know that he's in this. You actually have no idea where on the space station he might be. It was kind of like this. Let's go stab at this area. Sadly, you didn't have that kind of manifest. You know what I mean? So you start making your way over to working area C, and as you guys are making your way over there, and you go in, you see that walking into the area where there is a good number of prisoners, in fact, doing work. It looks like probably 17 or 18 of them doing work inside here. There are far less people guarding this than you would have expected. So like the two of them are walking in, and you guys walking immediately afterwards. And there's actually only like 3 guards inside this whole area watching them, when you would expect it maybe to be 5 or 6 watching them in case anything upstarts had happened. That's just based off of like experience that you've had in the past, because you know Candor's on the up and up. So you guys you go walking in and you notice this, and all of the prisoners are of course employees are of course doing their work, but they're kind of like looking around like, that was weird, like clearly something strange had just happened, and they're all kind of like looking a little like, okay, as they're going about their work. And you get this like feeling of confusion from them and like tension from everybody else inside the room as you go walking in.
All right. Candor quickly scans to see if there's any Wookiee amongst them.
You do not see any Wookiee amongst them. Again, you just see it like it's a mix of races that are there. One of the things that you notice is that there's only, out of the 17 or 18 that are there, only 2 of them are human. Everybody else is like a mix of races that are there. And the guards that are standing, they're not wearing as much armor and whatnot as the people that are behind you are. They actually seem like they're wearing like underclothes, like just basic, loose clothing that you might wear. Could you do me a favor? All 3 of you that are there, could you make for me a perception roll and go?
I'm very perceptive.
Super fail.
Yeah, wow.
Why did I get a blue?
I don't know. That's not from my end. Check your end.
Oh, nope. Yep, you're right. I get a blue for that. Sorry, it's my talent, passive talent.
All of you guys fail again. This is crazy hilarious.
Well. Look what happens. Oh, restart. Let's get some new characters. You done goofed.
So I sent an email in with all of those monthly payments that we weren't playing over to Roll20. I was like, listen, I'm paying for this. You make their life miserable. So you guys kind of go in and you're looking around, and that's kind of like the feeling that you're getting from the people inside there. How do you choose to proceed?
Candor will walk up to whatever guard led them there, and he'll look over. And you said there's like only 18 people here?
Yeah, 17 or 18 employees.
Yeah.
As well as the total of 5 guards, including the 2 that walked in with you.
He'll walk over to him, and very casual, and says, "This seems to be a fraction of what I was expecting. Where are the rest?"
They're working in other areas. This is just one corridor, and they're laying the wire work and everything for the rooms that are adjacent. And once the corridors are done, we'll start having the dedicated rooms be worked on and all of that.
He looks over. I look back to Doc and be like, "Doc, you may begin your initial quick inspection of them. Make sure they're all in good health."
Okay. I'm going to go over and go to the... So are they kind of like each working in their separate pods, or are a few of them working together, or what does it look like happening?
Depending on what the task is. So there might be like 3 of them in total that are all singled and working, but otherwise there's 2 or 3 of them teamed up working on the same project together, whether it be lifting something or rewiring something, whatever the case may be. They are mostly grouped together working. The biggest group that you see is one group of 5. I'll throw that out there.
All right. I want to set up like a little medical station, but like not medical station, but like set up like, take my bags out and put them down and put them in a corner, but like kind of farther away from all the guards, and then tell them to bring like a group at a time to me.
Okay. And so the first group of say 3 will make their way over to you.
All right. I'm gonna like act like first I am truly checking on them to make sure they're okay. But while I'm checking on them, I'm telling them that we're here to save them, type of thing. And when they get the signal, they'll know what to do.
Can you do me a favor and roll me a deception check on this one so the guards don't notice? Yeah, I know. It's great. Hold on. How bad should I make this? How bad should I make this? You know what? I'm going to go against 3 purple on this one. Let's make this fun.
Do we have any
so many guards.
points? Like
you have a bunch of light side points, and I'm just waiting for mine.
Should I use one?
I feel like yes, you absolutely should.
Okay. All right, I'm using it, and I'm rolling.
Hold on, let me give you the upgrade. I didn't give you the upgrade. Sorry. Roll again. Good, you failed. So roll again.
Oh no!
Failed anyways. Awesome.
Classic.
Awesome. So with advantage, you failed with advantage.
Oh, no.
So your deception, sadly, they kind of notice that you're over there and having whispered conversations with them and whatnot. And so one of the guards, seeing this happening, Maggie, you can roll me a perception check right now, and then I'll RP it.
Okay. Right. Oh no.
Failure.
Yeah, also a fail. So one of the guards kind of like nudges Candor, and he's like, "Your doctor over there, she's having some pretty whispered conversations with all of the employees."
I look confused, like that
All
caught
of
me
them,
off guard.
The workers.
Huh, strange. And what I'll do is like I'll have a word with her, and I'm like, hold this droid, and I was gonna like hand him his rifle case, just like hold on to this while I go talk to Doc. Just to, like,
roll me a deception as you are trying to convince them that this is all completely fake. Give me 1 second to come up with what their vigilance is, and their vigilance is a 3, so you're rolling against 3 purple. You're ready to roll your deception whenever you'd like, sir.
Okay. Success.
Okay,
With an
now-
advantage.
Yep. You continue.
Yeah, so I just like, hold this droid, and I hand 420 his rifle case, and I walk over to Doc. Excuse me, Doc. Are you, I'm being told that you're having private conversations with the prisoners. We're here merely to check up on them, not be friends with them. Understand?
Sorry. Just, checking and trying to make conversation.
Listen, I hired you for one job, and if you don't do it, maybe these guys can hire you for a job instead. Understand?
Totally understand. I
Good.
get it. No more conversation.
I nod, and I look back to the guards like satisfactory,
He nods yes.
and I will walk back.
Okay. You guys finish your task of checking all of these people, and then where do you go?
Next set of prisoners.
Okay,
I'm
so
on the hunt. I just want to find Werbo. That's all I'm looking for.
So that now they're going to bring you down to the actual, now that like word is spread or whatever, they bring you down to the area where the prisoners are in fact being held. So Werbo, what it was that you had seen was at some point in time, the one of the other guards came to this hallway and he kind of gives an announcement. I was like, yep, they're inspecting this whole area. So everybody over here, come on, we got orders. Let's go, move it, private, move it. And eventually kind of like everybody gathers up. And you hear a good amount of commotion out of earshot, out of like where it is that you can see. A good amount of commotion happening going on for several minutes. But then eventually a couple of guards filter. Oh, those aren't guards. Huh. A couple of people walking by with like bandit style armor, like beat up armor or whatever, with their same, standard issue rifles or whatever, are walking by. They're no longer wearing their stormtrooper armor. They're no longer in all that stuff. They're just completely like out of uniform and in like a different type of outfit as they're walking by and heading back to the thing. And then just kind of like maybe looking out the cell and looking around, you notice that there are a few more guards in this area than there were beforehand. And they're all standing, despite the fact that they are stormtroopers, and they're always super professional. They're actually standing more at attention than you would expect. Like they're really caring about their job at this moment. So you notice all of this happening. Does Werbo do anything, or does he just kind of like wait to see how it plays out?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna wait. Warbo sort of like stays a little further back than normally would.
Awesome. So some time passes. You guys finish up, like as I say, with those prisoners inside there and checking them. And Maggie, you notice that some of them are in horrible condition, and the fact that they're even able to continue working is just through fear and fear alone. But some of them are maybe they're fresh, maybe they're well maintained, maybe they're just durable. Who knows? Some of them are in great condition. But that's what you notice while you were in there checking them out. You walk past a small little group of them as you're making your way over there. And you kind of like, I imagine, kind of like, oh. And you'll do like a quick check and scanning them over. Do you try to give them any secret messages too, or?
I guess I'm gonna try to do like each group that I can. This is gonna be bad because I'm not the great at deception stuff. But
Not a problem, Maggie. If you want to roll a deception at that group of 3 that's right there, you give me 2 seconds to throw this. All right, I am ready for you if you're ready.
All right, should I do another light roll?
We only have 2 left.
I know. We're gonna probably need it later, huh?
He already has 4. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
All right. Well, we'll just roll and see how it goes.
Good luck.
It's so bad.
So one of the guards actually, he actively has his hand sitting on his blaster that's at his side, and he's like, "Hey, your doctor, she's doing that whispering thing again. What the hell's up with her?"
I sigh, like, what the hell's going on? And like, I look to him and I'm like, in a semi-serious, semi-joking manner, how much do you buy employees for?
I don't handle that stuff.
Who does?
That's Ulud. Ulud, says the other guard.
Ah, yes. Of course it's Elude. Why did I think otherwise? Once this is done, I look at the doc. I'm like, don't think you're actually going to be leaving this place. Understand?
And like, you're gonna leave me here?
I just look away and I'm like, I apologize. This is Giaz apparently didn't hook me up with the most respectable people, but I mean, and I lean. I'm like, it's a hut. What are you gonna do?
Do me a favor, Mathis, in 1 second. Roll me your deception check. You are clear whenever you're happy.
I'm never happy.
I'm like, he's
Damn.
supposed to be good at this stuff. So
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I'm like, hoping he save me.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, well, okay. I assume you take the 2 strain.
Oh yeah. Let's take the strain.
So they kind of look at her, and one of them's kind of like, "Good, because you're gonna have a lot of work." Sorry, I'm choking on my laugh. They're like, "Oh, good, because you have a lot of work with where you're going." Oh man, this is great. I just can't wait to show you your new home. And with that, and it almost seems as though like, whereas they were a little concerned with what was going on beforehand, their like caution almost seems to drop as they're like finally getting a feel of what it is that's happening here and what's going on. Okay, it's not like these 2 are doing an inspection or whatever. It's like, no, this guy's doing an inspection. This is some servant of his that's being tagged along. He has his beat up old droid that's his bodyguard, and his astromech droid to make sure that everything's in the up-and-up computer device. You're the boss.
Every
You're
so
the
often
boss.
I kick because the thing like starts like it like starts rolling forward and then it starts going in circles and it's like, Rhino, like kick it.
So they realize very quickly that you're in fact the boss, and so the one that was kind of chatting with you beforehand kind of warms up a considerable bit, and he actually has small talk with you as you guys are moving forward.
I take him up on the small talk.
And the other one is kind of like hanging back and watching everything that's going on or whatever. But every once in a while, just kind of like looks over at that sorry sob doc, and just kind of like chuckles, like, oh, sucks to be her. And then they bring you guys into a long corridor that has cells on either side going along. It looks like this, so small rooms going on either side. It actually looks like this was, in fact, supposed to be a living space for whoever it was that might live on this space station. But instead, it's being turned into an area to hold about 50 cells. Each of the doors for, again, the living area has like a small little area where we'll be able to like and lift up so people can kind of like see out or see whatever it is that's kind of going to their home. Those are being seen so that prisoners can see in, see out, or have food handed to them, whatever the case may be. Werbo would know that if prisoners have been behaving well, that's allowed to be kept open. If they've been misbehaving, it's allowed to be shut. The reason why Werbo's is left open is because he punched it so many times out of frustration that it's broken and it's stuck open. So that's the only reason why he's able to consistently see out of it.
Are some of them open and some of them closed right now, or all of them open?
Some of them open, some of them closed right now. So you guys walk into the area, and immediately when you walk in, you see there's a guard on either side. As soon as you walk in, about a third of the way down, there's 2 guards. About a third of the way past that, there's 2 more guards. And at the far end, there's 2 more guards. So inside this hallway alone, there are 8 guards, plus the 2 that are walking in with you, giving you the grand total of 10 guards that are with you guys. And so as you guys are walking in and kind of looking around, they start saying, you know, all right, you can, he goes over to the first one, opens the cell door and says, you know, begin your inspection, just kind of like offhandedly to her as he continues his side conversation with Candor.
Candor, just to keep like the appearance up as we get to like a cell, I'm like, you better keep an eye and find the one you like best, Doc.
Maggie?
I just need to sell it. I just need to sell it.
She kind of just like looks at him and is like, and she just kind of like awkwardly walks into the room.
Basically, I just want to go from cell to cell until we get to the one where Werbo's at.
So she's doing one at a time and inspecting the actual people and setting minutes on each of them. Mm-hmm. Are you just kind of like walking ahead, having conversation with him, just kind of like...
Yeah, I very much feel like these guys are, if they're as relaxed as they appear to be, that wandering nonchalantly while Doc does her thing is not going to stop me.
This one is relaxed enough with you. Everybody else seems to be standing at like it almost seems like they care too much about their job. Again, like they're sitting at very strong attention. This would be off-putting if it wasn't the fact that you know these are stormtroopers that are doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're making your way down, walking with him, and then when you're about like a little over halfway there, almost 2/3 the way down the hallway, you come across a cell where you look and you see a very angry-looking Wookiee that's sitting, standing, leaned up against the door, looking through the window. What, Jesse?
Just sort of like, is there an area where, in my mind, it just like there's just a big Wookiee, but there's like a shadow covering his face.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that works.
He's like
Absolutely.
hiding out in the back, like I'm gonna wait my turn. I'm gonna go unleash hell.
Yeah. So you're kind of like, so when you go walking by, you actually almost walk past the cell, but then you double back and you look and you don't see the top half. You only see the bottom half of these large and thick, furry legs that are there.
Thick.
Super thick. But no, for real, I don't know any of these people, right? So
Correct.
like, I don't. Yeah, okay.
You do
like,
know 420. You recognize.
You don't see him yet.
Battle droid. I don't know nobody. I'm just saying, I don't know nobody. Y'all strangers to me. I don't want to go out there. I can't figure out who you are.
So you notice a Wookiee standing there, and you kind of like walking past, like doo, 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 doo.
Yeah. Actually, that's what happens. Like he'll be walking, then it's like his leg goes up, take another step, but then swings back and like stops, and I like kind of like turn and look at inside the cell. And I'm assuming the guy who was walking with me kind of like stops.
He actually stops, he allows his sentence to kind of like trail off, and then he's like, "Oh, did you notice that one?"
And with that, we'll take a break, and we'll see what happens in a second. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back for hour 3 in just a few minutes.
So thick.